And then I have the next album, which is 1983, Peace of Mind.
Peace of Mind, my favorite album. The one with the Tame A Land on it. Yes.
Yes, yes. And
Tame
the
A Land,
Trooper, and the Trooper,
Trooper,
Fight of the
Flight
Icarus.
of Icarus. What else? Revelations.
Yeah,
Die with Your Boots On. Yes. Oh my God, I so love that album.
yeah.
I
And the
love that
album cover
album.
is so amazing, right? The album cover.
Yes. Even Vernon himself fell in love with it. That was his first album.
Right.
Like, oh my God, I love that album. So I was actually questioning myself, why did I buy Seventh Son when I love Peace of
This
Mind?
one.
Like, what the fuck are you doing, Jeck?
Yeah, I think you should just buy both of them.
Yeah, I think I'm keeping the DJ pack anyway. So
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my podcast. We wanted to do this podcast for a long time about Iron Maiden. But finally it's happening. I invited my friend Jeck. Hi Jeck.
hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me here, brother. It's a
Yeah,
pleasure.
so I know we were really bumped this year because of the Iron Maidens, but I think we need
Yeah.
to do this. So Jack, how you doing with the lockdown and everything? What's happening now?
Well, for the past 3 months, I was just staying home,
Mm.
and I wasn't able to report into work. Both my jobs, I wasn't able to report until just recently. I was able to get back to work last May, although that was on the call center job, on my call center job in Makati. But for my day job at the Quezon City Hall, we're working on a skeletal basis. So let's just say that I am currently on a flex schedule.
Okay.
So other than that, that's nothing much about me these past few days.
So working in the city hall, what do you hear that is the pandemic getting better or situation getting better or what?
Well, the current setup in the city hall is that the pandemic still being monitored as it was on the first few months of the ECQ.
Mm.
Quezon City being one of the highest cases of COVID-19. I can say that the pandemic is still on the rise. So I don't think it's gonna get low. It's gonna be say contained
Mm.
very soon. But hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah, hopefully. I think also
Mhm.
people are struggling with the economic situation, right? Because a lot of people
Yeah.
don't have work and there's no
Yes.
income.
Yes. With this current pandemic situation, I don't think everyone can get back to work anytime real soon
Right,
because transportation, um, and the situation in each local governments.
right.
Mhm.
So Jack, I think we first met in
SummerSlam
2019
19. Yeah.
SummerSlam. I think
Yeah.
Heather is the one who introduced us.
Yeah, Heather's the one. So the first time that we met, yeah, I think Heather was the one who introduced me to you guys. She's the only one that I actually knew from Metal Royalties, and
Yes. So
it was actually fun.
that was your first SummerSlam.
Well, that's actually my let's say I was able to attend 8, 9, 11, 17, 18. So that was my sixth slam, but it was
Right.
my first royalty experience because fucking Slayer, man.
So before you saw Slayer also on the 2017, right?
Yeah, I
The
did, and I was one of the lucky guys, along with Heather, of course, and Ronald, who won the VIP upgrade.
all right.
Although for me, I only got to upgrade my ticket from Lodge to VIP B, whereas Ronald and Heather were able to upgrade from VIP B to A. So they
Right.
got the much closer proximity to Slayer.
Yeah, that 2017 show was so amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
I actually cried that show.
Well, I was actually envious of you guys because for one, you got to shake hands with Tom and the
Yes.
rest of the gang. Number two, if I remember correctly, you were able to get a hold of one of those magazines signed by Slayer themselves. So I was like, man,
Yes. Luckily, I was able to get the set list also from that show.
wow, awesome. But
But you
for me, oh, go
but you
ahead.
know that I recorded everything that show, and then I even had a video that I'm shaking hands with Tom, and then
Yeah, I think I
I
saw
lost
that.
the phone at the end of the show.
Damn it. I heard that news. So you're the one who lost the phone during the Slayer gig.
Yeah, I didn't have anything. I only had like a picture outside the venue when I started
Damn it.
because eh, eh, all the other pictures didn't sync to my Dropbox.
Damn it, man.
I
Lost
even
treasures.
Yeah, I even went to the event page and said, please, I just need the pictures. You can keep the phone, but nobody
Yeah,
responded anyway.
such a bummer. I mean, you can ditch the contacts, you can ditch everything else, the videos, but please let me have the pictures back. But no, shit happened.
Yeah. Anyway, I was able to meet them on the 2019, so I think
Yes.
I was able to meet up.
Yeah. So
So
let's consider that as a compensation for what happened
yeah,
to your phone.
yeah, and then I think we have basically very few people who actually was lucky to meet them right in that tour.
Yes. And considering it's already Slayer's final tour, and to think that we're the only Asian leg, I think they Southeast Asian leg rather, because they had Japan.
Hmm. Yeah. So,
We're
Jack,
lucky enough
I
to.
what's your? I mean, I know you listen to metal, but what's your earliest memories of music? I mean, what was your like? What you remember listening first?
Well, this goes back way to my childhood, of course. So I was exposed to 90s music. So I was exposed to the boy bands, to the alternatives,
Hmm.
grunge, pop, you name it, Britney Spears, whatever, Spice Girls, uh, those stuff, you know. And then the 90s OPM, of course, the classics, Razorheads, River Maya,
Right.
uh, what else? Yeah, so basically that's pretty much about it. And I was first exposed to heavy music, not metal yet in general, but when I was in high school, I was already listening to pop, pop rock,
Hmm.
a few alternatives. Then my very first exposure to rock, borderline to heavy metal, was in 2007. During my high school days, I was exposed to Evanescence.
Hmm.
Uh, that was actually my gateway band, my favorite band before anything else. So it was Evanescence, and then I went to the emo phase actually. Red Jumpsuit Apparatus,
Right.
South Scene, Silverstein, uh, what else? Bless the Fall. Name those bands. I went through that. So it was actually on 2008 when I was first exposed to metal in general.
Hmm.
The first metal band that I listened to was Deicide, and I actually bought a. That was because I bought a bootleg copy of Once Upon the Cross, and I was, uh, mesmerized by it. It was a it was a heavy, fast, satanic, if you will, outright blasphemous album that when you play it so loud, your neighbors would hate you and all that shit.
Yeah.
So, and then the rest, as they would say it would be history.
So, when did you discover Iron Maiden? Do you remember what was the first song?
Oh, good question. So remember when we were in talks with Vernon? I believe that was last year. I mentioned that I was my first Iron Maiden song was "To Tame A Land," but I would like to correct myself with that. I first discovered Iron Maiden in college. I think that was 2011 or 12,
Hmm.
and the first Iron Maiden song that I got exposed to was 2 Minutes to Midnight,
Right.
because I was into thrash metal by that time, and I was a heavy, of course, I was a big Slayer fan. I was into old Metallica, Megadeth, Nuclear Assault, and even Sarcophago and Old Sepultura. Then I was browsing on YouTube, because technology during that time was so advanced. It's already easy, or we're already in the age of technology and convenience where we can easily find stuff unlike before. So
Right.
I happened to stumble on that Iron Maiden video because I was trying to check out on Judas Priest and Deep Purple. So YouTube recommended me Iron Maiden, so I give it a listen, and it was 2 minutes to midnight. Like man, the harmonies of the guitar, of course, and then the thrashy sound, like the sound that you will find on most thrash bands, like uh, the Bay Area scene. It's
Hmm.
fast, aggressive, angry, and I remember someone telling me that album, Power Slave, was way ahead of its time. So I got caught with it. Unfortunately for me, I was too hooked up with thrash, too hooked up with Slayer. I discovered other bands like Municipal Waste, Warbringer, uh, Artillery.
Hmm.
I almost forgot Iron Maiden, but I gave it a listen. I tried to give it a listen again years after, say, about 2018 or 2019, because I'm checking out guitar harmonies. Because I found out that Metallica was heavily influenced by Iron Maiden, given with their guitar harmonies and licks, like the way James and Kirk do their harmonies. And I also found out that the harmonies were in fact influenced. I mean, they they took inspiration from the harmonies of guitars from Iron Maiden. So that's where I discovered To Tame a Land. Because To Tame a Land, to tell you, how do you describe it? So it's got that sort of an Egypt.
Jet, you're still there?
You got me?
Yeah. Okay. I can hear you now.
Okay. So yeah, the line kind of cut in and out. So going back, yeah, To Tame a Land from Peace of Mind. This has that structure bearing the Egyptian riffs,
Hmm.
the sitar-like intro, and then of course the lyrical theme. If you're familiar with Dune, so and I just found out that the song was supposedly this was supposed to be titled Dune, but the author of the book didn't like the idea, so the band kind of ditched the whole Dune thing. They
Hmm.
stuck with the lyrical theme though, but they went with the title as To Tame a Land. But while 2 minutes to midnight was the first Iron Maiden song that I discovered, it was actually To Tame a Land that made me fall in love with Iron Maiden. And then
Right.
the rest followed. I'm checking the rest of the album, Power Slave. Uh, I was checking Peace of Mind, The Number of the Beast, and the one with the one with Blaze Bailey in it, X Factor. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then mhm. and then come SummerSlam 2019, where when we were, I think we were online for autograph signing with one of the bands. I cannot recall exactly which band was it. Although there was Happy C walking around, chatting with people, and I think if I remember correctly, JB Roque was behind me,
Hmm.
and he kind of made the conversation with Happy. He talked with Happy, so he was like trying to gather some info or inside info regarding the next slam. So he was like, "Do you have any idea, Miss Happy, who will be the next?
who will headline next year's slam, or who it will be, so, something like that. So Happy was like, nah, we're not really sure yet if we can finalize the whole stuff, but all I can say is that the next band has their own plane. So it's clear that she's talking about Flight 666 Ed Force One. So JB and I were like, oh my God, it's gonna be Iron Maiden next year, man. Iron Maiden. So I mean, if you just saw JB's face that day, he was he was happy as fuck. like I mean, we were all happy that day because number one, we're gonna see Slayer
Yes.
closer than we were in 2017, and number two, when we learned the news that Iron Maiden's gonna headline Slam 20. So since that day, after the Slayer gig, I was listening to Maiden songs all day long on Spotify, and I remember seeing your hand on After the Burial, your famous hands, like get these
Right, right,
hands.
right.
And then I saw the cover, the second cover of the Slam magazine, and then that pretty much cemented the fact that it's gonna be Iron Maiden on Slam 20. Like it's just a matter of time that it'll be announced. It's only that your hand got more famous first before the announcement itself.
Right.
So since then, I was listening to Maiden. I even bought the Seventh Son album. So
Right.
I was actually anticipating the whole thing. I was hoping that there would be some sort of royalty stuff, like a meet and greet, autograph signing. So, in fact, I had this shirt, this very shirt, printed just for that day to come. And
Right.
then suddenly, when we met again in November, uh, Vernon said there's no gonna be meet and greet on Iron Maiden, no royalty at all, and then the prices will pop up. Well, prices are kind of like royalty prices, which is fair enough given the venue. But initially, I felt like it was a bummer because I didn't get to meet Maiden up close and personal the way
Right.
I did with Slayer. But it's just, I mean, but I realized that it was fine because, come on, man, it's Iron Maiden. You don't get to see them every day, and you don't even know when we were, if we're gonna see them ever again after this gig or so, because they're getting old, like Judas Priest, like any other bands out there that way past their prime, like on their 60s or in the 70s or whatever.
Mm.
So I just kind of waited for the day or the concert day itself. Uh, I can I already bought the ticket on December as a personal Christmas gift. So I
Mm.
just settled with the fact that I won't be able to get up close with Maiden. So I just bought the regular standing pit. So I can tell myself that I'm already happy with it as long as I get to see Iron Maiden.
Right. Yeah. So
And
I discovered Iron Maiden actually back, I think probably in year 2001 2002 that time, because there were like a lot of local Sri Lankan bands were playing Number of the Beast,
uh,
Hello Be Thy Name, and then
Hallowed
Run
Be
to
Thy
the
Name,
Hills.
yeah,
They were always
those
covering. I mean,
classics.
oh yeah, so they always covered that. If you go to a local gig, you would hear that like every time you go, because either one of those songs will be played. And
Mhm.
then uh, I bought this in a flea market, like I think it's like a sidewalk market. I
Mhm.
found an LP of Somewhere in Time. That's the
Whoa.
first album that I got long time ago.
Mhm.
And then after that, I discovered what is this one? Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. That is
Mhm.
actually my favorite. And then I've been
Yes.
listening to. I used to have those MP3s. Remember, they used to sell those MP3 CDs with all
Yeah.
the albums. So
They
that's
used to burn CDs or
yeah. So
whatever
I used
on
to
the
have that
MP3
before, and then
iPods.
what happened is after some time I lost I was not listening to them that much, because probably because I'm discovering other musics, and then
Other bands. Uh-huh.
in the early 2000s, we had like Linkin Park coming up, all the new metal
Uh,
stuff came in.
Linkin
So
Park, Limp Bizkit, yeah, new metal
yeah,
stuff.
but my interest came back after they released the new album, The Dance of Death. That's where I really again got interested of Iron Maiden, because it was kind of,
Oh.
I wasn't listening to them that much, and then suddenly that album came up. And
Mhm.
then, of course, after I came here, I started collecting. So eventually, I have. I think I don't have one album, but I have all the others.
I think that was in 2001, Dance of Death, the one with Passchendaele, right?
Right. Yeah. So I have the albums here. Let's talk about each of the album. So then
Sure.
let's see what's our experience with each of them. Uh,
Hmm.
so I have first one. I'll just move this one.
The first album, yeah,
Yeah.
Paul Diano.
Yeah. So this one is vocals is Paul, and then also the drummer is Clive, right?
Yeah, the late Clive Burr.
Clive, yeah. So what are your favorite songs of the first Iron Maiden album?
I would say that I would pick the Phantom of the Opera, Prowler,
Mm,
and Remember Tomorrow. Because Remember Tomorrow, I believe it was covered by Metallica as part of their CD3 of Hardwired.
right.
And I've tried to give a listen to the original song, and I prefer the original over the Metallica cover, because Metallica's version was heavy. We're gonna give them that, but Paul's way of singing on the song,
Right.
it's emotional. You get to feel the mood. It really like it helps you say cool down. It's my cool down song whenever I feel stressed or something like that.
Yeah, this also had the song "Running Free," and
Running Free,
yeah, and then also the title, the song called Iron Maiden,
mhm.
right? The
Iron Maiden.
Yeah. Do you know the
You
story
got
that
me
how
to
the
my
name
room.
Iron Maiden got? They named Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I think it was after the fictional torture device, the Iron Maiden, the tall, cage-like stuff with a woman's face on it,
Right.
and then the inside structure has full of spikes.
Yes.
But unfortunately, that thing was never used, so there was no historical record of that device being used ever. But
Yeah.
if you're gonna think of it,
Yeah. I think it's also inspired by the man in the Iron Mask, right?
yeah,
Something like that.
the move kind of.
Before I was thinking that Iron Maiden was actually. I think I was confusing this with the Iron Lady, who was the Margaret Thatcher, right? But that is Iron Lady, not
Yeah.
Iron Maiden.
Yes, Margaret Thatcher was the Iron Lady of UK, I think.
Right.
but
Right.
but I think they made a song for Margaret Thatcher as part of their EP or something like that. I can't recall the exact title, but it might do something like Iron Lady or whatever.
So this Iron Maiden, they actually formed 1975. It's crazy
Yeah,
that how long they've been there.
talk about longevity. Like
Oh,
they're already on the like they already established themselves by the time that Black Sabbath was already a big thing. So was Judas Priest, to the
right.
point that they were even pitted against Judas Priest the way Metallica was pitted against Megadeth. They had
Yes. Yeah, they
that
were like
sort of collision.
competition, right? They had a some
Yeah.
kind of a competitive. But they
Mhm.
they actually opened for Judas Priest in the early days, and also for
Mhm.
Kiss.
They opened for Judas, yes.
So the lineup,
And
the no, the current lineup. Let's talk. Let's quickly go through the lineup. So we have Steve Harris, who does the bass and
the
backing vocals.
bass.
But I mean, it's Steve's band, right? This is Steve Harris's
Mhm.
band. So Iron Maiden, right?
Yes, yeah, and like anyone else in the band is at Steve's disposal. The way it was, uh, think of think of Megadeth with Dave Mustaine on it.
Right.
It's basically Dave's band, so it works like that. Steve Harris can go pick up any member the way he wants and retain the Iron Maiden name because it's his band. He can ditch anyone at any time he likes, anytime he damn pleases.
Yes. So we have Steve, and then we have Dave Murray on guitar. So Steve and Dave is the only members appeared in all the albums, right? All the
Mhm.
others, they're the ones appeared in all the recordings.
Yeah,
And then we have Adrian Smith also on guitars, and then Bruce Dickinson on vocals. Bruce was there. There are other two vocalists, which is Paul Diano, right? Paul
Paul
Diano
Diano and
and
Blaze Bailey.
Blaze. Who's that name? Blaze.
Yeah, Blaze Bailey.
Blaze Bailey of
Yeah,
Wolfbane, right?
Whoopsbane.
Yeah, but I think Bruce has kind of taken over the band. I
Mhm.
don't think now uh, anybody could replace Bruce Dickinson, right?
Absolutely. I mean, Bruce Dickinson's name is already synonymous with Iron Maiden. Even if he
Right,
went solo on the 90s, he was
right,
still associated with Iron Maiden. You don't. I really can't see Iron Maiden with fronted by other vocalists, let
right.
alone. I I, I mean, I kind of look forward on seeing Blaze Bailey again, but I don't think he won't fit with the current Maiden setup because number one, Steve Harris refuses to tune down Maiden, which is outside Blaze's vocal range.
Right.
And number two, I think Blaze is already happy with the current setup. And the number three, the fact that you cannot see Iron Maiden without Bruce Dickinson. That they 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 recruited him back in 2000
Right.
because the dwindling fan base of Iron Maiden kind of they kind of needed Bruce Dickinson back on the helm.
Yeah.
No one can sing Bruce's song on Maiden. No one else. Although you can see other vocalists doing vocal impressions on YouTube, but there can only be one Bruce Dickinson.
Yes. And then we have Nico McBrain on drums, which
Mhm.
was he replaced Clive Burr on drums, right? So Clive Burr is not there
Yes.
anymore. And then
Mhm.
I also have Janik Jazz on guitars. I think he's from the 1990s. And then there's another
Yeah.
guy called Mike Kenny who does the session keyboards for like from the early
Mhm.
late 1988.
Uh,
I think he still he does all the live sessions.
for the live performances, I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so that's we talk about the first album, Iron Maiden. So this is the second album,
Mhm.
Killers.
Mhm. Killers. Oh, that's a good one. Well, I actually have yet to listen to that album, but
Right,
the only song that I've listened so far on that album was "Murders on the Rue Morgue,"
right.
and
I
I've yet.
actually like Ideas of March, Rat Child, and then also this one, Purgatory.
Mhm.
And they have also a song called Genghis Khan on this one.
Mm. Sounds funny, but I gotta go check that out.
Yeah, it's
I think
actually a great album.
That was Paul's final album with Maiden before he
Yes.
got kicked out.
Yeah, he was. I think he was kicked out because he was getting too much into drugs and stuff, right?
And it was due to his abusive behavior, according to some stories out there. And I don't think that it seems that they can't get their stuff together when it comes to the musical direction of the band. So Paul was like he was going for a punkish style,
Hmm.
while Steve wanted the metal way.
Right.
So they kind of clashed on that part.
Yes. And then I have this. This is an EP actually. It came on the
Mhm.
same year,
Yeah,
1981. It's
mhm.
called
Made in Japan.
Made in Japan. Actually, you can see the early Eddie here.
Yeah,
It looks so crappy, but this is, I think it's they shot this in Japan. It has
yeah, and
running. Running Free, Remember
Running Free.
Tomorrow, Rothschilds. It's just the EP.
Mhm. And did you know that that cover,
Hmm.
Eddie holding a katana, that's not supposed to be the original cover.
Okay, probably.
Yeah, the original cover was supposedly Eddie decapitating Paul because he was already on his way out of the band, and during that time the EP was released. Bruce Dickinson was already hired,
Right.
so I think the management kind of didn't like the approach because Paul was still there, and the original album cover or the EP cover depicts Eddie beheading Paul, symbolizing that he's gonna get kicked out of the band real soon. So I think they opted with that version of the cover, Eddie
Hmm.
just holding the sword or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I think probably that earlier idea symbolizes is that the Iron Maiden is bigger than Paul, right?
Yes, they're getting bigger. They're starting to get established themselves.
Right. And then I have this one, Number of the Beast.
Yeah, yes.
Oh my God, that this is I think this is like all the songs are so amazing. So Number of the Beast,
Yep.
Run to the Hills, Gangland, Hello by
Run to the
Thy.
hills, Gangland.
Wow, it's and I also
Children
like
of
the
the
song
Damned.
22 Acacia Avenue.
Yes, it was. It has that trashy intro. I like that. I was actually listening to it earlier this morning.
Right. Yeah. So this is I think the last album of Clive,
Mm.
right?
That was the last album with Clive Burr on drums.
Yes.
Ah man, I miss him.
Yeah, I think here now they actually put Bruce Dickinson. No, no, no. They said I remember that they were not allowed to put Bruce's name on the songwriting. I think because of the contractual issue that he was still part of the Samson. He did
Yes,
when he joined Iron Maiden. He was still
Iron
actually
Maiden.
part of the Samson band, right?
He was still in Samson, if I remember correctly. So he didn't get any songwriting credits on the whole thing.
Hmm.
So he was just basically singing on it. That's it.
Right. Yeah, and then I have the next album, which is 1983, Peace of Mind.
It's my favorite album. The one with the Tame A Land on it. Yes.
Yes, yes. And
Tame
the
A Land,
Trooper, and the Trooper,
Trooper,
Fight of the
Flight
Icarus.
of Icarus. What else? Revelations.
Yeah,
Die with Your Boots On. Yes. Oh my God, I so love that album.
yeah,
I
and the
love that
album cover
album.
is so amazing, right? The album cover.
Yes. Even Vernon himself fell in love with it. That was his first album.
Right.
Like, oh my God, I love that album. So I was actually questioning myself, why did I buy Seventh Son when I love Peace of
This
Mind?
one.
Like, what the fuck are you doing, Jack?
Yeah, I think you should just buy both of them.
Yeah, I think I'm keeping the DJ pack anyway, so I'm gonna look for the Peace of Mind the DJ pack real soon.
Yeah. So and then I have this one, Iron Maiden Power Slave.
Power Slave, yeah, the critically acclaimed album.
Right.
Like, if someone says Iron Maiden, what comes in your mind first? Power Slave, Number of the Beast. Those two albums always comes into mind of everyone.
Yes. And then this one, the 2 minutes to midnight, right? 2 minutes to
2 minutes to
midnight,
midnight.
Power Slave,
Lost for Words.
Rhyme of the
Uh,
Ancient Marine. I like
Ancient
that one.
Mariner. I like that too.
Yeah,
That's a long ass song.
yeah. You know this. There's a song here, the Aces High. Uh,
Mm,
I don't know. Somehow I got the idea before that it's actually Ace of Spades and it's a Motorhead cover or something. I don't know why I got so confused, but it's actually two different songs.
two different songs. I was actually thinking the same thing. If I remember correctly, Motorhead has Aces High too. So I was thinking like, did they just record? Did they just cover Motorhead? So I give it a listen, and yeah, no, it's a different thing.
Maybe it's like a
But
Mandela effect.
Yeah, Mandela effect. I agree. And well, Aces High. I if, I don't know if you saw my Facebook story during the ECQ period. I tried to cover it when it was first announced that the Iron Maiden got canceled because I love the falsettos of Bruce. I tried to cover it. I tried to mimic it,
Right.
but my voice cracked at the falsetto part. So I was like, oh, my voice cracked. What a shame. But I ended up posting it anyway.
Yeah. And then I have the 1986 album. This is the one I got my
Yes.
first album somewhere in time.
Is that is that the same LP that you bought on the flea market, or
Yes,
is that a
it's
oh
the
that's the
same.
same? Whoa, like it's the thing as is, not a separate copy, not another copy or whatever. It's the very same thing that you bought on the flea market years ago.
Yes, back in Sri Lanka, I bought it here. I think this is few of the albums I bought back when I
Whoa,
moved here.
awesome! And you got to keep the same copy.
Yeah. And then the nice thing here, if you look at all the different arts, it actually has reference to like other albums. So there's like 22 Acacia. Here it says Acacia.
Mhm.
I think it refers to 22 Acacia's Avenue. And then,
32 Acacia Arcade Avenue.
yeah, there's a
Uh,
lot of references to the other albums here.
mhm. And if you're
Yeah.
gonna look on the below the street sign, 22 Acacia Avenue, the torn poster right there,
Yes.
the one with the Iron Maiden logo, that's an allusion to their first album, I think. And
Right.
then there was the Ancient Mariner restaurant. Yeah, lots of references to their previous albums.
Yeah, I think
E-
this one is about Power Slave, right? The
yes,
Egyptian.
the
Yeah.
Egyptian artifacts. And if you're gonna look at the back cover, you'll see the pyramids and all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, that's another reference to the Power Slave album. And then if you're gonna look at the five members of the band, take a closer look at Nico. There's a part that there's a print on his shirt that says Iron What. If if it's readable, it
Yeah,
says Iron What. Mhm. Because Derek Riggs, the one who used to draw Iron Maiden art back then, was I think he was pissed with the band because they were complaining that the drawing did not pretty much look like the band themselves. So
right.
he inserted that Iron What thing on Nico's shirt, and then yeah, funny references. And then I think Bruce is holding a brain.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can't there. I can't remember what was it referring to. I think that was on Peace of Mind when you know the cover. Eddie was lobotomized,
Right.
his brain got removed, and all that shit. So yeah, lots of references from the previous albums.
Yeah. Yeah,
What's
it's
your favorite song on the album?
yeah. So this one, of course, this one had wasted years.
Yeah, Wasted Years, the classic ever. I mean,
And then Alexander the Great, Caught, Caught Somewhere in Time is also
somewhere in
nice.
time.
And then
Uh-huh.
Stranger in a Strange Land, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's so this is somewhere in time. And then let's go
Mm-hmm.
to the next. I have the others.
Yeah, the Seventh Son.
This
Seventh
one,
Son. There
the
you go.
seventh son of the seventh son.
Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. The album that I bought in,
Yeah,
impulsively.
I think this is also one of my favorite albums actually, because mainly because I like the song "Can I Play with Madness."
Mm. Can I play with madness?
Yes, and then
Uh,
"Evil That Men Do" is also a really good song, right?
yes. Yes. Evil That Men Do. Moonchild.
Mm,
Can I Play with Madness? Yeah. Those three songs.
yeah,
Those are the best. Those are my top picks on that album.
I'm. Yeah, this one he's actually holding a heart. Oh,
Mhm.
uh,
That was
it
that
looks
was I
like a
think
kid, no?
Yeah, I think that's a picture of a womb. Eddie's
Boom.
holding a womb with a kid on it, and
Right.
then his heart, I think, is an apple or some sort of it. But if you're gonna take a closer look on the inlay, there's that yin yang art on it.
Right.
It was like Eddie's head was never hacked
Hmm.
on the inside cover.
It's right. So
And
crazy.
yeah, that album is so crazy. Even the album, the Derek Riggs, the one that drew, that made the art, he got bored drawing Eddie. He ran out of ideas, so he just came up with that Eddie with just the rib cage
Hmm.
and all, because he got tired of drawing Eddie. And Bruce Dickinson was already, I think, he was on the verge of leaving the band because he felt like he wasn't contributing that much. He felt like
Right.
he was just basically singing the songs. So he got lazy and stuff.
Right. Yeah. And then I think this is they move little bit on the progressive side, right? This album.
Mhm. They started being progressive on that album, and they start using synthesizers on that
Right.
album. So you're gonna hear lots of sharp guitar-like sounds, artificial guitar sounds, and then lots of lead, too much progression.
Hmm.
And that was, I think, Adrian's. I no, was that Adrian's last album with Maiden, or was it uh the next one? I think that was Adrian's last album with Maiden.
Yeah. Until he returned, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So let's go to the next one. Next one, No Prayer for Die.
Yes. Yes, that was Janet Jer's first. The first album with Janet Jer's on it, I think.
Hmm.
No Prayer for the Dying, and then they went back to the raw sound. They ditched the synthesizers. They ditched the progressive approach. They went to their old sound. They're trying to recapture the old sound like they did on their first 2 to 3 albums. My favorite song on that album was Holy Smoke.
Yeah. Holy smoke. They had also Tail Gunner. I like this one. Bring your daughter to slaughter.
Yeah,
I
was
think
that the what was it?
they do that right, like Alice Cooper for this Bring Your Daughter to Slaughter. They will Eddie will like chop off somebody's head or something, right, in the live
Yeah,
show.
some sort of that. And I think that was I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure if I remembered correctly. One of the songs were used on a movie, Nightmare on Elm Street, if I remember it correctly.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I think so.
Mhm.
I'm not sure also what was the song, but I read
Yeah,
that they used it in the Nightmare on Elm Street. And then they also have this song Mother Russia.
Mother Russia.
The Russia. I don't know why they wrote that song. And and then I think this is also one fan favorite album, right? Fear of the Dark. It's
Yeah,
also
Fear of
quite
the
famous.
Dark. I like that album too. It's got Wasting Love, the title track, Fear of the Dark,
Mm.
and the one about football that was Weekend Warrior, I think.
Yes,
Was that
Weekend
Weekend Warrior?
Warrior,
Yeah,
Fear of the
song
Dark.
about football.
Yeah,
Fear of the Dark.
Be Quick or Dead. They play that also. Be Quick or Dead. From Here
Mm-hmm.
to Eternity
Liquid
also,
or
right?
yes, I like that album because it has that raspy Bruce vocals,
Mm.
and like it it's a different approach because I think they went about a half step down on their tuning.
Mm.
It's a different. They sounded differently on that album.
Right. Uh, yeah, that's also right. I this is also quite nice album cover. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
There's simple, but it's quite interesting.
Yes, because I mean, it's not like your usual Eddie Iron Maiden albums with Eddie on it.
Yeah.
Eddie with a screwed head, Eddie on a straight jacket, Eddie playing puppets and all. It's it has that bizarre looking thing, which it's just something that gets you hooked up. It's a
Yeah.
lovely album cover.
Yes. And then I have 1995. So this is actually after Bruce left, and then
Mhm.
Blaze
Blaze
joined X
Bailey came.
Factor.
Yes,
Uh,
one
uh,
of the darkest Iron Maiden album.
right. And probably one of my least listened album because I haven't really listened to this.
Yeah, though I'd like Blaze's approach on that album. I would pick Sign of the Cross and Lord of the Flies, but nah, it was an okay album for me, but not really much my thing. So
Right.
I would suggest that, yeah, don't listen to it that much. But maybe, just maybe, give it a try some other time. But I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's like Iron Maiden minus Bruce.
Yeah. And then the next one is Future Real. This is
Future Real,
1998.
Virtual 11.
Virtual 11. Yeah. Uh,
Future Real, The Clansman. The Clansman was my favorite song on that album.
right. Yeah.
It talks about freedom of the Scots.
Yeah. The Klansman. They write a lot about this the Europeans taking over the Native Americans. A lot of their songs reference to that, right? A lot of Iron Maiden
That's
songs
right.
like "Run
Yep.
to the Hill," even "Run to the Hills," "2 Minutes to
Run to the Hills,
Midnight."
The Trooper,
Right. Most of them is
2 minutes.
about that, right?
Yeah, the English and the Americans colonizing each other. And what else? It was it. Well, pretty much about war and invasion. Aces High was about the Spitfire planes and
Mm,
World War One or two. I can't remember exactly. And the Were Eagles there? I think it was about Hitler's uh, last camp before he went to the bunker.
right.
It was that camp that no one dared to cross because it was heavily guarded. Not even the Russians can penetrate the area because
Mm.
it was called the Eagle's Nest. So I think that was the inspiration behind the Were Eagles there. There were Eagles there song.
Yeah, I heard this recently. This story that so Hitler went into the that bunker, and then there was this lady with him, and she could have just surrendered, and then she could have just served prison or something, and then but
Mm-hmm.
then she still decided to end her life by herself because they're saying because she wanted to go in history that she actually did it, like took her own
Yes,
life.
according to what I've read online. Yes, the article. I think you were referring to Eva Braun, Hitler's partner. They
Right,
decided
right,
to take. Yeah, so they decided to take their lives so they can go down as martyrs when in fact they were not.
right.
And the German propaganda that time was like, the Fuhrer's dead. He took his life. He martyred himself, sacrificed, whatever. When in fact, the the regime has already fallen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The guy just won't give up.
Yeah, and then I don't. The album that I'm missing is the year 2000 album Brave New World. That is
Brave
what I
New World.
don't have.
Mhm.
The
That
one
was
with the Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man and Brave New World, the title track.
Yeah.
That was when Bruce returned, and so was Adrian. So that officially made them a six-man band, I think, because they retained Janek. They didn't
Right.
ditch Janek.
Yeah, and then the next one is this one, the one I
Yeah, your
came back
favorite
to
album.
Ireland, 2003, Dance of Death.
hmm If Yeah, well, my top pick on that album, because I really didn't listen to it that much.
Right.
Aside from Passchendaele, because Passchendaele was an epic song. It tells you about the horrors of war, like Maiden never told before. Like if you're gonna compare to the previous Maiden songs about war,
Mm.
the other songs were about trippy. They were like about adventures. Nothing. They didn't really went dark, telling those stories. Unlike that song on Passchendaele, they went dark as it gets, because what happened in Passchendaele itself was very gruesome and very dark. So if you're gonna read on it on the lyrics, yeah, it was it was an epic song for me,
Mm.
and I think they retained the musically speaking, they retained the keyboards. They went
Mm.
back with the progressive sound. They tried to reincorporate their old sound with their progressive approach. So hence they came with Dance of Death.
Right.
So what was your favorite pick on that album?
I think Wildest Dreams, Dance of Death. That is what I remember listening to. Yeah.
And what can you say about the album artwork?
I was looking for, because the this one, the I don't like the Eddie on this one.
Yeah, because according to the band, according to the album artist, it was rushed. So if you're gonna
Right.
look at one of the, I think the baby, it looks like it was twisted, and so is the dog. Like he's got the twisted neck. Like
Right, right,
the
right.
rendering was so bad. I don't know why Maiden chose that unfinished version.
Yeah, but this their back cover is really cool, huh?
Yeah, the back album cover was cool.
Yeah, so
I
that's
mean, look at that.
Dance of Death. And then I have 2006 album,
Matter of Life and Amolad, yes. Matter of
Matter
Life
of
and Death.
Life and Death.
For the
Uh,
greater good of God.
yeah, for the greater good of God. I also know this one, the reincarnation of Benjamin Brigg. I don't know
Benjamin
what's the
Brigg.
story is about.
Benjamin Brigg. I've yet to check it out because I'm trying to find articles or stories related to Benjamin Brigg, but
Right.
I am not seeing anything related to it online. I don't know where Maiden got the inspiration for Benjamin Brigg. It's a mysterious one.
I don't know if it is related to the what is that other one, the amazing story of Benjamin Buttons.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. They just kind of changed the last name into Brigg or whatever. Uh, and when in fact it was about the Benjamin Button, the one getting old in reverse.
Right, right. The one with
Done as a baby.
Brad Pitt, right? It was Brad Pitt and
Yeah,
I don't.
it
Yeah.
was it was Brad Pitt, and I can't remember if it was Angelina or someone else. I
No,
don't know.
it's not
I think I
Angelina.
might
It was other actress, but I normally Kate. I don't know. I don't know the name
yeah
of her.
I might I might watch it later again just for the lose.
Right. Yeah. And then I have 2010 album, The Final Frontier. This is
Look
like
at
a
that.
this is like a
Yes.
box. Yeah, it's like a.
Was that from a box set or something?
I think they released this as a box set. Yeah. So, but it's just the box booklet and the CD.
All right.
I think this is more of they're looking at more of aliens and stuff, right? The theme is more of
Yeah,
like aliens.
the aliens, galaxies, and stuff.
Yeah.
And what I like about that album is that that was their final attempt to like, it's their last attempt to that progressive stuff or the synthesizers thing.
Right.
Now, what I don't like about that album is it, it's too loud. It has that loudness war thing. Like if you recall Death Magnetic, it was so
Mm,
loud.
right.
The
Right.
mixing was so bad. Like what happened, guys? Satellite 15, the Final Frontier, the intro was so bad. It was so loud. Uh, I had to stop it.
Maybe that's I don't know. Same thing like Death Magnetic, right? Death Magnetic. Everybody was upset about that album, right? The mixing.
The mixing was so bad. I don't know what got into Rick Rubin's mind that day. He wanted to mix it so loud. if you're gonna listen to the demo, you will say the demo was way much better compared to the final version because the final version was so loud. It's like you're watching it's like you're watching TV with no signal.
Right,
Remember the fuzzy black and white screen with bzzz on it,
right.
kind of like that. And it was bad. It was just bad.
Yeah, but I was actually hoping that when I heard that they are doing an album with Rick Rubin, that they would probably do another one. But typically the case with Rick Rubin, normally uh, he's more of I don't know if he's really a good, like, a technical producer about the sound itself, but he's more of the guy who can organize that songs, right? That he will remove all this unnecessary stuff, make it very raw
Yeah.
sounding, which works with a lot of artists. But I think Metallica was not happy with them, right?
No. No. Nah, that's not. I mean, Rick Rubin's thing is about organizing stuff. He's good at it. I mean,
Mm,
look at Slayer's albums with Rick Rubin on it, right? And then you compare it, and then you try to incorporate it with Metallica,
mm,
wherein everyone gets creative control. Definitely, Lars being the boss man, he won't like it.
right.
Uh, so, nah, that's not Metallica's thing. They want, I think Metallica want it as raw or as fine as possible. I think they're trying to recapture. Yeah, we're going in a side note, right? From Maiden to Metallica, but that's fine. They're trying to recapture the sound or the mixing or the production they had with the Black album, which
Right.
unfortunately they weren't able to replicate. I mean, look at what happened with Load and Reload and God, Saint Anger. My God, but Saint Anger was a different story. There are some redeeming factors in Saint Anger,
Mm,
although it was recognized too bad for its snare and the lack of solos.
right.
So it goes down to the mixing. So kind of like what happened with Metallica's that magnetic Rick Rubin, and then if you're gonna compare it with Maiden's Final Frontier, makes you wonder, right? Makes you wonder what happened to the mixing and all. Was too loud. It's barely listenable, but yeah, I'll maybe I'll still give it a try though.
Yeah. And then I have the last one, 2015, Book of
Book
Souls.
of Souls. Yeah.
I kind of feel that this, you know, so they kind of went into the Egyptian kind of theme in the Power Slave, right? And
Mm.
then I think here they're kind of going into the Aztecs, I think.
To the Aztec, to the
Yeah,
Aztecs or to the Mayans of Mexico and South America. I
right.
mean, look at the album cover. It depicts Eddie as an Aztec warlord or something, a
Yeah,
headhunter. And then the Book of Souls, the title track, it was about uh, the rituals done by the Aztecs or the Mayans performing human sacrifices before their gods,
yeah,
doing it on high pyramids and all that stuff.
yeah. I
And
I actually like also the Speed of Light song, Speed of Light.
Speed of Light, yeah, I like that too.
But I think I want to
Uh,
listen to this more because I don't think I have listened to this enough.
you gotta give it a listen, man. I love that album too because that's Bruce's first album, I think, after recovering from cancer.
Right.
Though sounds like he was still struggling, but he was able to recapture his trademark high pitch falsettos. His vocal ranges are still there, at par with his previous albums. And that album, although it's not really a concept album, but most of the songs have, say, allusions to historical stuff and real life situations. Uh, say, for example, the last track, I think, Empire of the Clouds. Oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
That's one of their longest songs next to Rhyme of Ancient Mariner and Sign of the Cross. It was about the R101 plane, the one that looks the Hindenburg or Zeppelin or whatever that crashed.
Right.
Even during her maiden voyage, I think it was an unfortunate fight for them because they were, you know, trying to get as extravagant as they can, just trying to impress the Queen of England or the King. I don't know. I don't know what was the era. What was it during King Henry or Queen Elizabeth? I can't remember. But that's what the song was all about.
Right. Yeah. And then this Aztecs. Have you watched the movie Apocalypto
Apocalypto, yeah, yeah.
of Mel Gibson? Mel
Mhm.
Gibson's
They
movie.
have, if I remember that movie correctly, they have this part wherein, uh, of course, the Aztecs do cannibalistic rituals. They eat human brains. They even chop the head while the human was still alive and all that gory stuff. They were munching on brains.
That movie was really good because because the movie was actually not in English. It was like in different some language, right?
Languages, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's
It was,
really what I was surprised that they with all these Iron Maiden, they you see like a there's all these mythologies and legends and stuff gets connected through all these albums. I don't know why nobody has tried to put up like a opera, rock opera kind of thing with this, like maybe like a Broadway show with Iron Maiden, right? All the songs.
like a musical or something like
Yeah,
Phantom of the Opera or The King and I. I I kind of wonder why.
because
We're
I
only
think they have enough songs to do that, right?
Yes, they have a lot of they have their entire discography way back 1980 to 2015. Like that's a whole bunch of that's worth that's 4 decades worth of music.
Yeah.
That should be more than enough to do a musical or whatever.
Yeah, and then I also have this one. It's not Iron Maiden, but it's Bruce album.
Bruce Dickinson, Tattooed
Yeah,
Millionaire.
Tattooed Millionaire. I haven't opened this yet.
Yeah. But have you tried to listen to it even through like Spotify or
Yeah.
YouTube?
I've been listening it to on Spotify. We were actually in adults only radio. They play the Tattooed Millionaire a lot of times also.
It was a good song,
Mm,
Tattooed Millionaire. I think that was a compilation of songs Bruce wanted to do outside Maiden.
right.
Steve won't let him do that, of course, because it's Steve's band. It's Steve's band.
Yeah. Of course, those songs will not work with Iron Maiden, right?
Definitely, because it has a different approach.
Yeah. I actually want to talk about Bruce. Actually, this is Bruce's book.
Oh,
Uh, so he's a singer, songwriter, and then he's a pilot also, right? He does he fly the plane, Iron Maiden plane?
well, he's actually a licensed pilot. The Iron Maiden plane, yes, he flies it along with a co-pilot, if I
Right.
remember correctly. That plane was leased. That was leased by Saudi Airlines, I think, nowadays because since they're no longer touring using that plane. But
Mm,
yeah, he flew that. He flew the Ed Force One along with a co-pilot. And actually, I was browsing on YouTube on Ed Force One because during the early days when the Maiden gig was like being hyped or rumored, I was trying to I was actually soaked on the idea that we will be able to see the Ed Force One soon,
right.
flown by Bruce himself. So we're gonna do some sort of train spotting, plane spotting rather. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I
we'll
was
have to go in the back of the airport, right? The Paranaque
yeah,
side.
yes, on Naiya, I think. So imagine Ed Force One landing in Naiya, and then Bruce Dickinson will radio over the towers like ABD 666 over or something like that. I was listening to their radio comms on YouTube. It was funny because one of the towers in New York, I think, recognized the call sign for the plane, which is ABD 666. So
Right.
the tower was like uh Delta to Alpha Bravo 666 up the iron. So the the tower guy was like that, and there was a chuckle on the background. So I think Bruce recognized or got the idea that someone on the tower crew was a fan of Maiden or something like that. It was actually fun. So yeah, guy was a licensed pilot. He's a musician. He's a singer.
Yeah. He brews. He actually brews also the beer, and
Yeah.
then world class fencer. I think he's Olympic level fencer, right? I think.
Yes,
He's,
he's a fencer too. I
yeah.
don't know if he competed in the Olympics though, but yeah, he's a Olympic fencer. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, cancer survivor. I don't know how he does all this.
So much talent. He, he's a jack of all trades. Like how how can this man do a lot of things?
Right.
So basically, he's the Michael Jordan of heavy metal. He does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, real goat.
A real goat.
Yeah, when this album that he did, the Tattooed Millionaire, this is similar to what Halford did, right? With when he was in Judas Priest, Halford had his own solo album also, right?
Yep. I
Yeah,
think that was the same time as well when he left Judas Priest
right.
and went solo. Yeah, yeah, that was it.
Yeah. So now that yeah, so Iron Maiden is not happening, and then I think the rumor is that they will consider coming back on 2022, right?
Hopefully, because I saw their Facebook post. Uh, the whole 2020 tour was already canceled
Yeah.
as of May, and then they are already fully booked by 2021. So they're prioritizing their European leg, I guess, and then Japan as well, I think, and Australia.
Mm.
So for the Asian tour, I think they mentioned that they will try their best to get back. So hopefully that's most likely it's gonna be 2022 since they're already fully booked by next year. So so yeah, let's just hope that Vernon will still be able to get a hold of Maiden
Mm.
by that time, as he was able to get a hold of Slipknot. Like speaking of Slipknot, it was already rescheduled next year. It's
Yeah, I
already
think that's the best news I got through this the whole through COVID situation.
thing. Yeah, silver lining.
Yeah, finally we have a date. So
We have a date and we have a concert finally happening.
and then we
So
can, yeah, even if we have to wear mask, I think it's okay, right? Because we can wear mask.
and I read a comment somewhere on Facebook regarding that. Someone said we have to do psychosocial distancing. I love the fun. This is
Psychosocial.
psychosocial distancing. So imagine how you're gonna mosh with Slipknot while maintaining social distancing. So you were like washing around with distance. Hey, bro, back up.
Yeah, and then I posted when it came out, when the news came out, I put the hashtag Maggot Lives Matter.
Maggot lives matter. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, because so Jack, any message to Iron Maiden?
Yeah, so I hope this some. I know this is a long shot, but if this ever reaches Iron Maiden, so I hope you guys will be able to finally visit the Philippines. It's a wonderful country. Your fans are waiting here. I mean, it's long overdue that we need to see you as soon as possible, guys. Uh, we we are so excited to hear your songs live in the flesh, the way we did with Slayer, the way we did with Megadeth, Anthrax, you name it. The previous bands that we have, we will make sure to deliver the best audience as soon as you land here in Manila in some point of time. And I know that this COVID pandemic is a real shit to our plans, but I know someday, sometime, I still believe that we will be able to get back together. performers, artists, and fans alike. So I hope to see you guys again. To see you guys real soon in the pit.
Mm.
And please, I hope they include To Tame A Land on their set list. Please, pretty please. I know the last time that they played it was on 1982 or something like that, but it's a long shot. But anything is possible. But if they're gonna do legacy set, I'm okay with that. As long as I hear "Hallowed Be Thy Name," I'm okay with that. And Aces
Right.
High too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just wondering, like, we're going through all this chaotic situation right now, how the set list for 22 will look like, because they will be influenced by what they're feeling right now, right? To put up the
Yes,
set list.
and I think they should. It is just necessary that they put the song "Virus" on the set list. Very, very appropriate.
Right, right. They should open from that, I think.
Yeah, they should really go with that. It's just appropriate during these times. I really hope that they do. Let alone perform here again. Perform here in Manila real soon.
Right. So, Jack,
Even if
anybody you want to shout out to, Jack?
well, shout out to our friends in Metal Royalties. I hope you guys are doing fine. My good buddy Jet Vincent. We do share memes and stuff. We do shit posting on Facebook when we're not listening to metal stuff. So we will continue doing stuff like that, man. And maybe say shout out to my friends too in at work. Wave 114B. What's up, guys? So Uncle Jack is here. Old man is already interviewed. It's an honor. So guys, I hope you still. I hope I'm still your. We're still friends after this one. I don't know if you're still gonna have some respect after this. And of course, I'd like to give a shout out to my partner, my buddy, my love, Irish, of course. She was actually checking on me earlier this morning because I'm having a hard time sleeping.
Mm.
I told her that we're gonna have a Zoom interview later, and I have to. Yes, of course, I do have to sleep because I do night shift. And she was
Right.
checking on me like, you need to get to sleep and all that stuff. It's and she's checking like, please take care of yourself. Don't skip meals. Take your vitamins. I love you so much. And that was so touching of her. Yeah, thank you so much for everything that you're doing, love. I love you so much, and I hope, yeah, a lot. I love you so much, and I miss you. And of course, to our other buddies out there, Ronald and Heather,
Mm.
our Slayer buddies. So I hope you guys are doing safe, and of course, we will see each other soon. All right.
Yeah, you mentioned Jet. He's actually like the king of memes, right, in the Philippines.
Yeah, Jet is like, whenever I see stuff from him, Matt, it's automatic. I gotta go grab it. I gotta go steal it. But first, I gotta go hit that haha react first before I steal the meme. And then he does the same, man. Whenever he sees a content that was shared by me, he reacts and then he shares it along. And then we just do the same stuff back and forth on a daily basis. So uh, I don't know if our other friends, other buddies have unfollowed us due to a lot of sharing memes and shit posting and stuff. We apologize, but we just want to have fun amidst this crisis,
Right,
and
right.
we do want to detoxify your news feed with all from all that negative stuff that we're seeing on a daily basis. So we're trying to compensate that with memes and all that funny stuff, of course. So to make sure that everybody stays sane.
Yeah. So Jack, thanks for doing this. This was really good. I think we did justice for Iron Maiden.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor. It's a privilege, man. Thank you very much for having me here. I mean, uh, to be honest, I'm seeing your previous episodes. I'm watching them. I'm listening to them. I can see that your guests are high profile. Some of them as well are closest friends from
Hmm.
Metal Royalties. So I was like, whoa, this guy barely knows me. Barely knows me just for a year, and I just got invited. So man, it must be an honor. So I'll be forever thankful for that, man. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I do appreciate it a lot.
Yeah. So Jet, so take care. Maybe you can go to bed. I'll see you. Yeah, I'll talk to you. Let's see. Let's see. Hopefully,
Sure,
we'll
sure.
see Iron Maiden again, and yeah, we'll see in the Slipknot definitely.
Definitely, we'll check on that. So I hope you guys stay safe too, your family. Keep yourselves safe. Always wash your hands, of course. And uh, well, yeah, that's pretty much about it. Just stay safe. Because we will see again each other in the pit together with some of our friends as well.
Right. Thank you, Jet. Take care,
Thank you,
man.
Channa. Take care, man. Stay metal.
Stay metal.
Yeah.